Yesterday we discussed on different tests of t-test. Okay, different methods like independent sample t-test, dependent sample t-test, one sample t-test. So these methods we have seen. Today we are going to see f-test. So f-test is performed for comparing two population variances. So you can see that f is given by s1 square divided by s2 squares, where the degrees of freedom is n minus 1 and degrees of freedom 2 is n2 minus 1. And s1 is the variance of sample 1, s2 is the variance of sample 2. n1 minus 1 is the numerator degrees of freedom, n2 minus 1, this is the denominator degrees of freedom. So let's take a look at an example so that idea becomes clear. Suppose you are a financial analyst for a brokerage firm. You want to compare dividend yields between stocks listed on the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ. And you got the following data. Suppose in case of New York Stock Exchange, your sample size is 21, mean is 3.27, standard deviation is 1.3. In case of NASDAQ, your sample size is 25, your mean is 2.53 and standard deviation is 1.16. So the variance you can calculate for the New York Stock Exchange. It is just standard deviation square, 1.3 square. And the variance of NASDAQ that you can also calculate, that is 1.16 square, because we know that standard deviation square is variance. So we can see that different variance from this sample. But the question is there a difference in the variance between New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ at population level, at the alpha is equal to 0.05 level? Alpha means it is your it is representing that the significance level. So your confidence level is 95%. So what will be your null hypothesis? The null hypothesis will be null means there is no difference. So there is no difference between variances at population level. And then your alternative hypothesis will be there is a difference between variances at population level. Okay. And your alpha is equal to 0.05 and your degrees of freedom for the first group, New York Stock Exchange, it is 21 minus 1 is equal to 20. And the degrees of freedom for NASDAQ, it is 25 minus 1 is equal to 24. So you calculate the F statistic, which is given by the ratio of the variance of the samples, and it will come out to be 1.256. Now you should compare your statistic with some cutoff value. Okay. So how can you calculate your cutoff value? You should consider it is given alpha is equal to 0.05 and these 2 degrees of freedom you should consider for F distribution. So in the F table you can see that this is your 20, this is degrees of freedom 1, and the degrees of freedom 2, it is 24. Okay, and they are meeting at this point. This is at alpha is equal to 0.05. Okay, so this is it is 2.33 it is given. So here 2.23 2.23, it is actually 0.05, means here it will be 0.025, because you are considering alpha by 2, because this is a two-tilt problem. So you will be considering actually 0.025. So from the table, you can see the cutoff value is 2.33, and you have got 1.256. Okay. So your F statistic value is less than your cutoff value. Okay. So this means you cannot reject your null hypothesis. Okay. You cannot reject your null hypothesis. There is not enough evidence that at alpha is equal to 0.05 level, you can accept your alternative hypothesis. There is not enough evidence of that. So this is your conclusion. And alternatively, you can also check out your p-value. When you will be doing this using the Minitab software, you will be getting a p-value. Suppose your p-value is 0.07, the p-value you have got. Okay. And the problem that you are considering, that is alpha is equal to 0.05 level. So your confidence level has to be at least 95%. Okay. But if you get your p-value is 0.07, that means 0.07, you 1 minus 0.07, it is, you will get 0.93. So you will be getting 93% confidence level, but you require 95%, which is not confident enough. So you are not confident enough to say, to propose to accept your alternative hypothesis. Okay. So this is actually your the thing that you will be getting from this result. Okay. Now we will discuss chi-square test. So chi-square test, it compares the population variance, a particular population variance, with the sample variance. That means whatever you are getting from sampling, that variance you compare with the given or standard variance. Okay. Which was prescribed, or which was designed, which was suggested at designed level. So that you compare. And the chi-square test statistic for a single population variance is given by chi-square is equal to n minus 1 a square divided by sigma square. So chi-square is the standardized chi-square variable, n is equal to sample size, a square is equal to sample variance, and sigma square is equal to hypothesized variance. So take a look at an example. Okay. So a commercial freezer must hold the selected temperature with little variation. Specifications call for means at design level, it was suggested a standard deviation of no more than 4 degrees. 4 degree standard deviation means your variance will be 16 degrees square. Okay. So there the specification at design level, it is suggesting that the temperature variation must be within the limit of 16 degrees square variances. Okay, 16 degree variance. A sample of it should be kept in mind that actually when you mention the standard deviation, you get only unit, but when you consider variance, it becomes a unit square. Okay, and basically you do the standard deviation you do because you want to remove this square. That's why you do this. So a sample of 16 freezers is tested and yields a sample variance of a square is equal to 24. Okay, so from your sample you have tested 16 freezers and you have got the sample variance as 24. So you can clearly understand that it is happening at sample level 16 is not equal to 24. But whether you can say this for the at the population level, whether it is changing or not, that you can show. So test to see whether the standard deviation specification is exceeded. Use alpha is equal to 0.05. So if you calculate the chi-square, you put n is equal to 16, because here see you have tested 16 freezers, 16 minus 1 because you are considering the degrees of freedom. A square you put here 24. Okay, the sample variance divided by sigma square, the variance 16 degrees, that is, which is actually none other than the specification variance. Okay, and it will come out to be 22. So now you will compare it with the cutoff value. You have alpha is equal to 0.05 and you have degrees of freedom is 16 minus 1, 15. So you can do this, you can, so at alpha is equal to 0.05 level, your 15 value. Okay, so your 16 minus 1, 15 is degrees of freedom. 15 degrees of freedom, it is 24.996. So you can see that 24.9958. So this thing you can see here. Okay, so you can see that your chi-square value, it is located somewhere here, and your this is the test statistic, and the cutoff value that you have found from the table, that lies somewhere here. So you are lying within this region of do not reject null hypothesis. It is less than that. So you cannot reject your null hypothesis, and you can say that there is not enough evidence to accept the research hypothesis. So you can conclude that these population mean are, you cannot say same, but at least there is not enough evidence that it is you can reject it. Okay, so for this case also you can do this thing that you know, from looking at the p-value you can also judge this. Suppose your p-value you have got 0.08. okay, so you can understand that at alpha is equal to 0.05 level, you've seen significance level is 0.05, so your confidence level will be 95%. But if your p-value is 0.08, it indicates that your confidence level is 92%. Okay, that means if you conduct such experiment 100 times, from this sample it can be said that out of 100 times, 92 times you will be getting different population mean. Okay, you will be getting the different. Okay, but 8 times you won't get any kind of difference. Okay, 8 times, but you want from your problem, you can say alpha is equal to 0. So you need to be 95% sure. That means out of 100 times you want to see the difference for 95 times. Okay, so you can actually the desired thing is here is it is opposite. The desire is that your it should not go high. Okay, so the desire, so as per that, this is actually correct. This particular problem is correct. So there is not, you can conclude that there is not enough evidence of your research hypothesis. Okay, and sometimes it is to be noted in chi-square test here that sometimes you in fact you do not want to reject your null hypothesis. This is very interesting to note. Okay, because previously I have told you a lot of times that actually you want to reject your null hypothesis and you want to establish your research hypothesis and or the alternative hypothesis. Okay, but in this case you can see that your objective is actually not to accept the alternative hypothesis, or in other words it can be said that here your intention is not to reject the null hypothesis. Okay, why not? Because if you reject null hypothesis, it indicates that at population level, that means the variance that you can see, it is there are difference then as compared to your the specification, the population for this what was suggested at the design stage, that is not matching for your case. Okay, so obviously you will not want that. Your desire will be there will be little variation as suggested in the design. Okay, so in this case you do not want to accept the alternative hypothesis, rather you want to not reject your null hypothesis. Okay, and in this case I would like to say that in these cases you say only the alternative hypothesis. You should not it is better not to use the word research hypothesis in these cases. Okay, so next, this is the part of next we will discuss about ANOVA, analysis of variance. So in case you want to compare two means, you use two population mean, you want to use t-test, but there are some statistical obligations because of which if you have more than two population means, you don't want to compare those with multiple t-tests. Rather, you should conduct ANOVA or analysis of variance. Okay, and I have already in this case you can see that there are three populations you can see. Okay, and you will find that two mean square. Okay, one is between groups mean square and another is within group mean square. Okay, which represents actually the variance, nothing but the variance. Suppose whenever you are comparing the scatter of data within the samples, it means within group the mean square, which is this, and between group mean square means you are comparing this thing. Okay, between these things the averages or the mean values of the populations, different populations that you are actually considering. Okay, and here you are considering the scatter of the data. So basically in case of ANOVA, you are comparing the sum square between and the sum square within. Okay, so this thing you are doing in case of ANOVA or analysis of variance. In ANOVA, you will find some terminologies like SST means total sum of square, SSB sum of square between groups. Okay, sum of square between groups. You will be getting SSW sum of square within groups. Okay, and DOF means degrees of freedom. They actually SST, SSB, SSW, all they measures the variation, and the sum of square total is actually sum of square between plus sum of square within. So similarly, degrees of freedom for sum of square total is equal to degrees of freedom sum of square between plus degrees of freedom sum of square within, and that is quite natural. In the later example, we will see there will be some columns and rows. M is equal to number of columns and N is equal to number of rows. Okay, so those things we will find there, and degrees of freedom while calculating the sum of square total, it is given by M cross N minus 1 because we are considering all the elements of the matrix. Degrees of freedom while calculating sum of square within is M into N minus 1 because we are considering M columns each having N minus 1 number of independent elements. Degrees of freedom while calculating sum of square between is simply M minus 1 because we are only considering the sample means of N columns. And in analysis of variance, F statistic is the ratio of two chi-square distribution having same or different degrees of freedom. Okay, and why we compare the mean we compare variance when our intention is to compare the mean, because I have previously told you that if there is no variation in the mean, they cannot be different. Okay, if there is no variations in the mean, then they cannot be different. Similarly, the larger the differences between the means, okay, the larger the differences between the means, the more variation must be present. So that's why we are basically comparing, we can compare the variances to compare the mean. Okay, so ANOVA test is actually carried out using Minitab software or any other kind of software. But here we will see that how these things are actually performed, manually how those things can be performed. Okay, in order to get more insights of it, we will see it. Suppose three medicines are given, applied to some three different groups. Okay, to suppose for example cure a disease. Okay, for example the cholesterol level. Okay, some people they have very high cholesterol, and you are applying some medicine to three different groups. Okay, now you with different maybe different doses you are applying. Okay, so now you want to find out that whether the medicine is actually it is affecting or not, that you would like to test. And suppose the variable of your response variable, the values of the response variable is given by this particular matrix. Okay, 3 2 1 5 3 4 5 6 7, like that. Okay. Now you can see that here first you can calculate the average of this group. X1 is equal to 2, x1 bar is equal to 2. So the average of this column, x2 bar is equal to 4, average of this column, and x3 bar is equal to 6, the average of this column. Okay. So you are applying these things. Okay, it may be you may use some 3 different medicines you may use, or you may use different doses of one particular medicine. Okay, to a group of to a number of suppose 9 sample is there. Okay, and the cholesterol level you are measuring after applying that particular medicine or those particular doses. Okay. So what will be your grand mean? Your grand mean will be 4. Okay, this will be your grand mean. If you sum it up all those things, and then if you get this, then this is your these are your actual grand mean divided by 9 or divided even by 3, 2 plus 4 plus 6 and divided 3, then also you will be getting this value. Okay. So now you are going to calculate the sum of square between, sum of square total sum of square first. So what will happen in this case? The grand mean is 4. So you will subtract it from 3, or you can 3 minus 4 or 4 minus 3, whatever you wish. You subtract your grand mean from each and every element of this matrix, and you make it square, and you will be getting the sum of square total value, which is 30. Okay. So what will be your degrees of freedom? Your degrees of, since you have 9 samples here, so your degrees of freedom will be 9 minus 1, which will be 8. Okay, you can very easily understood. And if you apply the formula m into n minus 1, you'll be getting the same thing. M is the number of rows, n is number of columns, 3 into 3, 9 minus 1. So 8. Okay. Now you calculate sum of square within. Sum of square within means within this particular group. So how do you calculate? Your mean is 2. So 3 minus 2 or 2 minus 3 whole square plus 2 minus 2 whole square plus 1 minus 2 whole square plus 5 minus 4 whole square plus 3 minus 4 whole square. In this way, you subtract your mean from each of the elements and you make it square, and you add it, then you will be getting the sum of square within value. Okay, so you will be getting the value sum of square within. Okay, now you will be getting you should also consider the degrees of freedom for sum of square within. What will be the degrees of freedom? For each group you are having 3 elements, so for each group the degrees of freedom is 2. Within this group it is 2, within this group it is 2. So if you add all these things, the sum of square within, the degrees of freedom for sum of square within, you will be getting the value of 6. 2 plus 2 plus 2, 6. Or alternatively, you can also use the formula m into n minus 1. So 3 into 3 minus 1, it will come out to be 6. Now you calculate the sum of square between. Sum of square between means this group, this group, this group, this group. In the between these groups, what is the sum of square? So you will be you will subtract this mean from the grand mean. You will make it square, and you will do this for thrice. Why thrice you will do this? Because you have 3 elements. So 2 minus 4 whole square plus 2 minus whole square plus 2 minus 4 whole square. Then again, from this mean to this mean, 4 minus 4, you will be doing thrice. Then again for this mean, 6 minus 4 whole square, 6 minus 4 whole square plus 6 minus 4 whole square. You will be doing this thrice, because you are calculating the sum of square between. Okay. And you will be getting some value of 24, like that. Here the sum of square within is 6. The sum of square between is 24. Now what will be the value of the degrees of freedom? It is simply 2, because there are 3 columns. You are considering sum of square between. That means there are 3 groups you are considering. So obviously if you do subtract 1, so it will become 3 minus 1 is equal to 2. Okay. So your degrees of freedom will be here 2. Okay. So very interesting to note that sum of square total you have got 30. Here sum of square between you have got 24, and sum of square within you have got 6. So 24 plus 6, it will be 30, the total sum of square. You can verify it. Similarly, also when you are considering the degrees of freedom, you can see that the total degrees of freedom, it is 8. Okay. Why 8? Because you have total 9 elements, and if you know the grand mean, you can very easily find out. If you know all the 8 elements, and if you know the grand mean, then the 9th element you can very easily find out. So that is the concept of degrees of freedom. So your total degrees of freedom, it is 8, and here sum of square between, it is 2, and sum of square within degrees of freedom, it is 6. So 6 plus 2 is equal to 8. So again the same thing is happening, and formula wise also you will get the same thing. Mn minus 1. Okay, if you do sum of square for sum of square between, the formula that you see, sum of square between, the formula is m minus 1. Sum of square within, the formula is m into n minus 1. So if you add these two things, you will be getting m cross n minus 1. Okay. So your null hypothesis is 3 different foods or medicines will have no significant differences in effects on the response variable or dependent variable as the population means of all the groups which are actually effect are all equal, and all or some of the food medicines will have significant difference in effects on the responses or the dependent variables. Okay. So you want to test that. So how can you do that? You will be calculating the F statistic, and your F statistic is given by, it is the sum of square between by sum of square within. Sum of square between m minus 1 SSB divided by m minus 1 its degrees of freedom, and sum of square within divided by its degrees of freedom, because you are comparing these two variances. Okay, and you need to divide it by the degrees of freedom, because the variance, it also depends upon the degrees of freedom. Okay, because the more you have degrees of freedom, the variance will also, it will become larger. So you will have more variance. So that's why we need to divide it by the degrees of freedom, and you will be getting this value of F statistic. You have got the value of 12. Now at alpha is equal to 0. Suppose here they have given 0.10 level. That means at 90% confidence level they want to perform the test. So in that case, here your degrees of freedom is 2,6 here between within. So if you see the F table, you will consider the 2,6 and your value will be, cutoff value will be 3.46. But you have got your F statistic higher than this value, 12. Okay, so you can reject your null hypothesis and you can say that there is enough evidence that the medicines are affecting or influencing the they have significant effect. For example, if it is the cholesterol level or whatever it is, okay, it has the significant effect. So what does it mean by significant effect? Significant effect means if you use different medicines, okay, it will give you different type of different responses it will provide. Basically, these are actually the responses, okay, and these are the average responses. So basically, here you try to, these responses you have got from the sample 2, 4, and 6. But mu1, mu2, and mu3, these are the population responses, population average, mu1, mu2, mu3. So whether you can see that the sample means are different, responses are different, but is the population responses are also different? That you would like to check, and you can say from this analysis that yes, the population responses, that they will give different responses. Okay, just like the example that I have given you earlier. Okay, suppose 3 different, suppose instead of 3 different foods, for example, you are using 3 different levels of speed you are using, and the force level that you are getting like this is number 1 speed value, this is number 1 second spindle value, this is third spindle value, suppose you are using. So the responses that you will be getting, that will be also different. So that means you can understand that it has a spindle speed has a significant effect on your response variable at population level. Okay, so this is the ANOVA test. Okay, but here one thing also to be noted, that whenever we are saying that we are rejecting the null hypothesis, and we are saying that there is enough evidence of the alternative hypothesis or the research hypothesis, and we are saying that all the means are not same, it does not mean that all the means are different. Okay, when we are saying that all the means are not same, it does not mean all the means are different. It may happen that some means are same and some means are different. It may also happen. Okay, so which particular means are same or which particular means will be different, if you want to test that, you need to perform not only ANOVA is sufficient, but also after conducting ANOVA, you need to perform a post hoc test, another test which is known as Cohen's d test. And from Cohen's d test, it is a pairwise comparison method. We can understand that which particular which particular pairs, okay, they are same or they are different. Same means in terms of the significance level or the p-value, we can understand that. Okay, so this thing I will describe in the Next class we will discuss about the Cohen's d test. Okay, and also we will focus on the two-way ANOVA. Okay, this is the example that I have provided here. This is the example of one-way ANOVA, because there is only one independent variable. For example, if the independent variable is, if you take food or if you take medicine, this is only one independent variable is there. Or if you suppose take speed, it is only about one independent variable. But if you have two independent variables, then you need to perform two-way ANOVA, and there the interaction effect you need to consider. If you have three independent variables, then you will be performing three-way ANOVA, and there will be two-factor interactions effect will be there, and even three-factor interaction effects will be there. I have given you previously the example of speed, feed, and depth of cut, where you are having three independent variables for force. Okay, so in this way, you need to perform this is the intuition of this, that how ANOVA is actually carried out. So ANOVA basically compares the sum of square between and the sum of square within. This actually compares these variances, they compare their mean. Okay, so now I am going to end stop the recording.